assembly required, but listeners' discretion is advised. Sit back, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe or follow. Now, let's not keep you waiting. It's time to welcome your hosts of TNT Podcast, Tara and Tina.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to TNT. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to TNT Podcast with your hosts, the beautiful Tina and myself, Tara. You can follow us on Instagram at TNT Podcast Show or on Twitter at T_N_podcast. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel is probably the best thing to do. And we're available on all the listening platforms as well, Spotify, Apple iPods, etc. So tonight's episode, we welcome James and Lori Golden to the show of Redeye Racing. Now, this Dodge Challenger Redeye is the fastest as we know it right now, which is super cool. I think we're talking 4.97 in the 8th mile, which is mind-blowing. These two folks are amazing. They're inspiring. They're very supportive of the sport of drag racing. They make one hell of a team together. And I know Tina and I are very honored to know them. So let's everybody welcome to the show. Please welcome Lori.
Hi, Lori.
And James Golden to the show, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. So you're both in separate areas, right? James is traveling.
Yes.
Right. And maybe like before we dive into like what you guys are doing now with Redeye Racing, how did you get to this point? Like, how did you and Lori get here? What was life like for James and Lori prior to this adventure?
You want to start, honey, or you want me to start?
Life was bliss.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
So Scott, yes, we're in different rooms because we're in different states right now. I'm home in Florida and James was at the NMCA race today.
I'm in Hemi-Tunerville, Michigan.
Right. Michigan. And actually, I have a feeling we're going to have a few comments from people for this show tonight, because I did have some people mention to me that they did want to ask you guys some questions.
Okay.
At
some
some
point. So we'll do our best to keep our eye on the comments. For everybody, for sure.
So when James and I started dating, there was no car.
Nope.
And even through our engagement, there still was no car. And then James says, let's get a car right before we got married. And I said, okay, great. Yeah, let's get a car. We can, maybe a convertible, something we can go to car shows in and have fun. And he's like, yeah, right. Anyway, the car was scheduled to arrive while we were on our honeymoon. So he tells me, someone will drive you home from the airport and I have to go pick up the car.
Yep.
Ladies, right? Can you imagine? Like, what do you mean? You're not going to carry me over the threshold when we walk into our house?
What?
Oh boy!
Oh, that started out great. Great car adventure.
Yeah, but no, someone else picks up the car, and we did go home together from our honeymoon.
Yes, and yes, that's the way it happened.
All right, I'll let you pick it up from there, James.
Well, I mean, basically, I bought a car, and I picked, I didn't know what kind of car I wanted. It's been a long time since, I had a fast car or any kind of meaningful car. I had some past troubles in my life that I was in, and I raced when I was younger, and all those things that I had going on in my life didn't allow me to do anything like this. I just worked basically, and I was at a point in my life where I was not working weekends anymore, and I had some free time, and I was like, it's a perfect opportunity to have a car. I didn't know what kind of car I wanted. I've always had Corvettes and AMGs and all sorts of crazy stuff. And I was searching around, and I was watching YouTube, and I was watching a Leno show, and the guy has 400 cars. And,
yes.
And he went and started raving about this Cat Redeye. And I remember him saying, out of all his cars that he has, this is his favorite car. And so
really?
I thought to myself, I'm like, well, this is good for Jay. I got to have to get this out. I never drove one before. And I said, okay, let me go take a look. And I went down to a buddy of mine who owns a Dodge dealership. And he didn't have, I said, hey, do you have a Redeye I would like to drive? He's like, no, we don't have those, but we have a Setback. So he took the keys, and I took it for like 20 minutes and drove it around town. And I was like, well, okay, I'm good. Let me factory order one.
There's a lot of I's in there, right?
What?
I.
Yes. So I.
Well, I'm home planning the wedding.
Yes.
Right.
She's planning the wedding. I'm planning my dream car, right? So I go to order one, and he's like, what color do you want? And I was like, well, I want this. I was asking around, and I'm like, long time ago when I had a Corvette, I didn't know what color. And a friend of mine showed me a picture of a Corvette car show. And there was like 1,000 Corvettes on the ground. It was taken from a helicopter. He goes, what color do you see from the helicopter? I could count out 5 yellow ones. He's like, well, that's the color you go with. So everybody has orange and blue and white. And I was like, why don't we try this crazy green, not this epic green. Lori didn't particularly like green. The guy I was ordering the car for was like, listen, you can't back out if you order this green. Like, this is a no-sale green. Like, if you don't take this, I'll never get rid of it. I was like, hey, let me have it. And so I did. And then, of course, as soon as it came in, everybody loved it. But there was no color that they had on the lot I could see. So, I ordered a car just strictly from the internet, like from pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a blessing. And it was beautiful. And we were on our honeymoon, and the car got delivered. A friend of mine picked it up, and people ask me all the time, how's your car when you drove it stock? I had no idea. I was ordering parts on my honeymoon. So when my friend picked it up, I had an entire exhaust system, a pulley. I was doing injectors, lowering kit. I got the car. It was a non-stock car when I actually took delivery of it. So that's how it went. So I did all the stuff. We were having a lot of problems with it. Nobody could tune it. I called these crazy guys up in Long Island, AJ, this guy, Jim at True Street. And I was like, oh, I kind of want a car that runs on gasoline and E85 and does like all these things. And like, well, we don't do that. And you need to buy the parts from us. And I'm like, oh, these guys are dicks, whatever. I'll find somewhere else. And then I found this little tuner shop. And they were like, sure, we can do a Dodge. 100 pulls later on a dyno, these guys couldn't figure this car out at all. And I was kind of lost. And I ended up breaking the pulley on the car. So that's where Paul from Linton's comes in. So we came in the car. I haven't driven it yet because since day one, it didn't have anything on it. And I decided to write an email to the company. There's no 800 number or anything. I write an email. I'm like, listen, I bought your pulley and I'm having a really hard time with it. It seems to be broken. And I broke the belt. Sent an email. Never thought I was going to hear anything from it. 2 minutes later, I got an email. A guy named Paul leaves me his number. I call him up. The nicest guy on earth, willing to help me. Going to send me one in the mail. He's like, by the way, where do you live? I'm like, I live in Long Island. He's like, well, why aren't you bringing your car to AJ and Jim? I'm like, well, I already called those guys. They don't deal with me. And he's like, let me call you back. Calls up AJ. AJ then calls me up, says, why don't you bring the car in? And then brought him to the car next week. And we went from there. I went to the racetrack the one time with street tires on. I ran like an 11 7/4 mile with street tires. And I turned around at Lori and I was smiling from ear to ear. And I said, you're in trouble here. Like, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're kind of hooked, aren't you?
And
you feel it.
Then it was all downhill from there. It really was.
Well,
So what were your thoughts through all of this, Lori?
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard for me to understand because through the years we were dating and our engagement, there was no discussion about like, I'm going to buy a race car or I'm going to buy a car and make it a race car.
Right.
So I couldn't understand it. And at the time I wasn't going to any events. I was home and I was working. And, you know, I explained to you guys briefly, I was not team Redeye racing for the first year. And that's because I would be home and I would be so nervous. I wouldn't know when he was running. I didn't understand about the car, about what was involved in it. I didn't understand about the safety around it. So, you know, I would be worried for literally all day long because, you know, he doesn't necessarily, hey, Gary, he doesn't necessarily say like, okay, I'm going to go run. And then 8 seconds later or 7 seconds later, James, you know, he doesn't say, okay, I'm back, you know, so right all day.
Right. You wouldn't know.
And,
Yeah.
Right. So it really wasn't until I started going to the races and meeting everybody was a huge part of like me changing my mind to all of it. Plus, you know, everyone is so into the safety thing and seeing that really gave me comfort. And then, you know, then I would only have to worry for 7 to 10 seconds at a time. And that was a lot better than worrying for 24 hours straight.
Absolutely.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Totally.
So now I'm team Redeye Racing.
Yeah.
I'm team Hemi Tuner.
Yeah. And the fact that you went and, you know, spent the time and talked to the people and willing to go, you know.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely, Scott, Tina is so beautiful. She's more than pretty.
Love it.
Thank
you.
What do I say before every
comment
show?
to everybody, and I can't. So hi,
see
everybody that said
I can't
hi.
see anyone's stuff. Oh, I guess I have to push the button.
I say that before the start of every show, but yeah.
We can't get to everybody, but we will. Yeah.
Oh, look,
yes, we'll try
his eyes light up.
The questions.
But Scott doesn't think that James looks really pretty tonight.
I'm
rude. Kind of rude. Wow. James, the green, one of my favorite cars that I wanted to buy off my ex-father-in-law was a 70 model F8 green Roadrunner. My favorite car. So I like the green, Lori. I'm sorry.
You know, I saw an older one like that in Summit, and I saw a 70s F8 green. I forgot what other one, but it's a little bit different.
It is different. Oh yeah,
a little bit different. I think it's a little more army green now.
Right.
There you go.
But it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful car.
Well,
I didn't know they had it around in the 70s. So I didn't know much about Dodge, to be honest with you. I was
going to ask you, James, if you've always been a Mopar fan or just kind of across the board, different models.
More Chevy than everything. I had Camaros and Corvettes, Tahoes, you know, all of that stuff. So not really Dodge.
Okay.
And now more than I learned about Dodge, I mean, I've been in the car business for a very, very long time. So as far as Dodges were concerned, you know, I knew that they were good trucks. You know, like Chevy don't really make great trucks. Ford makes really good trucks, and Dodge is right there with Ford. But other than that, like, you know, because you don't really see them. You know, one of the things that I tell everyone is, you know, as we're going on this path is every time I open up a YouTube channel and I'm watching drag racing, it's Mustang after Mustang after Mustang, Camaro. It is so boring. It's like, you guys want to pick a different car? Like, you know, and I never knew how much heavier they were than the Mustangs. And now it makes a little more sense now that I know a little bit more about it. But, you know, they're also big and comfortable, and they have their other nice traits to them, and they sound great. But, you know, if it was easier, everyone would do it. You know, if you want to build a really fast car and cheap, you buy a Mustang. Put a turbo on it, it'll run 8s all day long. I mean, that's why I guess everybody does it. So I guess I like a lot of pain, because it's
the challenge
to go fast.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. The challenge too, right?
So what came after the 11-second?
So 11
pass?
seconds, then I AJ. And then I go to my first event with AJ. He puts a pair of slicks on it. He breaks my heart about. So he goes over my whole car with me, and he's like, "Wow, that car is really good lowered." I'm like, "Oh, wait, isn't it?" He's like, "But you have to choose." I'm like, "Choose for what?" He goes, "Well, you're either gonna look good or you're gonna go fast. So we have to take those things out." I'm like, "I just went in." So I'm like, "All right, I'll have a compromise. I have to let you know from here on out. Like, there has to be the car's got to look good no matter what we do. And if it goes fast, that's great." So he made all these changes. We go to the track up in Michigan, and that was my first Modern Street Hemi event. And we go there, and off the trailer, the car runs at 953. It scared the living life out of me. I didn't realize how fast the car was. I was pinned into the back of the seat. I almost thought about lifting before I got to the end of the quarter mile. I mean, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, wow, this thing is unbelievable. My hands were shaking.
It's amazing.
It was, I get out of the car, AJ sees my smile. Like, well, how was it? I was like, how was it? We ended up going to a restaurant that night, and I remember walking into whatever restaurant, and there was a picture of a rooster holding onto a steering wheel like this with his eyes,
bulging out of his head.
That was me in my car. If anybody would have seen me without my helmet on, that's what I must have looked like.
I get it totally.
It was amazing. So I had this great time, and AJ's like, "So what do you want to do now?" I'm like, "Well, we went 9:53. I'm like, "Can we go into the 8s?" It's like, "We could do whatever you want." So I'm like, "This is great. I'm having a great time." I get to meet all these people in Modern Street Hemi. They're great. I'm like, I'm like,
really
I got
great
a trailer. Now I got to get a dually. Like, I have all these, like, Lori said, it's just a car now. Now it's like, I am, like, completely just diving off into the deep end in my mind going, okay, now I got to buy a truck. Now I got to buy a trailer. These things are probably really expensive. Lori's going to have a heart attack when she finds out. So the next day I wake up and they have the car show on Woodward Avenue. So I'm like, well, now I'm going to try to go to the car show. So I'm driving the car show, having a good time. I'm about to pull into the parking lot, and the two kids that I had that were with me, they're like, "Look at all those cars doing burnouts on Woodward Avenue." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's great." And they're like, "Well, aren't you going to do burnout?" I'm like, "No, I want to go to the car show." They're like, "Oh, man, you're an old guy. You can't do a burnout?" Well, peer pressure.
We don't know how this ends.
Peer pressure. I pull up to the light, never did burnout with my slicks on the street. Hit first gear, bounces off the rem limiter. I try to catch it in second gear. Boom, car blows up, on fire. I am stunned. I'm in my car. I'm watching fire. That's a great photo. Watching fire come out of my hood. Don't know what to do. I pop my hood, and more fire is coming out. And all the people from the car show start running over with coolers and beers and water bottles and keep dumping this thing on. And eventually, thank God, it was, I don't know how many people were there, thousands of people. Thank God I had all those people. They helped me put the fire out.
Yes, absolutely. I was there actually, and it was crazy. It was crazy. I felt sick at the same time, but it was crazy. And even pop, like anything, to try to, and then this Fuse 31 that, a friend of mine, Tom Drago, had drilled into my head to pull some fuse or something in a relay in the back that I never forgot. But yeah.
So you weren't there, Lori, when this happened?
No,
I was
I'm
not
glad
there.
she wasn't.
So James, how do you call Lori up and tell her that you set the car on fire? I want to hear about this one.
So to be honest, I was so stunned that the police came over, and I was kind of ignoring them because I couldn't process what was going on.
For sure.
There's a picture of me standing outside my car, and I just had a blank stare. I didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden I feel somebody on my shoulder, and it's AJ. And he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. Unfortunately, these things happen in this racing community." He goes, "I know your pride's hurt, your feelings hurt, but I just want to let you know that I have a brand new a brand new built motor at shop. This thing will come back on Monday. By Wednesday, the motor will be out. I'll get all the fire extinguisher stuff out. And within a couple of weeks, this car will be put back together. You'll never know it was on a fire, and it'll be faster than it's ever been. You wanted to go to those 8s, we'll get that 8 for you. So, like, he gave me like a bit of, you know, I mean, I really did that pep talk. I really did. But on the 11-hour drive home, it was a long drive, and then I had to call Lori. And
it's a long time to think, right?
Yeah, it was hard to say. I'm like, the car only had 1,100 miles on it. And I was like, I just blew up my car.
It was 3 months old.
Yeah, 3 months old. In April and August, right? You know, May. Yeah, 3 or 4 months old. And I'm like, she's like, oh my God. She was great. She was consoling me. Okay, you feel, you know.
But I was like, yes, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over.
She She kept asking those questions.
No,
She's like,
no, this guy AJ, and I didn't know AJ at the time.
Yeah.
I hadn't met him yet. AJ said we will rebuild, and I'm like,
we will rebuild.
Hemi Tuner, how to get him?
And you know, I thought to myself at home, this is a turning point. Either I'm gonna build the car back and never do this again, or I'm gonna jump off the cliff and buy this trailer, and I'm never gonna look back. And if you seriously want to do stuff, you have to expect that this stuff's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that was like a reality thing. Like, I never blew a motor up in a car. I never blew really a transmission up in a car. I've never really broke a car like that. And, you know, I was still a little leery until the car got there. And I'm sure on Wednesday I got photos from AJ, and the whole engine was out and all the fire extinguisher stuff was out. And I go down to the shop and they're like, we're going to do this and that. We're going to change this and we're going to make that faster. Here's your new motor. It shows me the new motor. And then it was just like, we're on to the next one.
Yeah.
What
Focus on moving forward and the project. And yeah.
But I still have Lori back together. So, you know, the thing with Lori was, you know, she wasn't coming to the races. She didn't understand. And Lori's great because, you know, without her, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. You know, like
absolutely,
it was really hard to do this by myself.
Yeah,
it made it so much easier when she was there,
and
she embraced it, and she met the people I was talking about, and she met her own friends. And
love this picture.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It is.
You know, she really became part of it and became part of the team, and helped me with my social media and gave me all advice on what to do. And, you know, on every t-shirt design and everything that we do, we always do it together. So,
yeah, that's
amazing. You know, we always joke, behind every great man is a better woman.
Yep. It's not a joke.
No,
it's true.
I love it. She's so matter of fact.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah, it's true. And the, you know, and the friendships that she forged in there made it easier. Then we started going to races together. And then it was like, it wasn't an issue anymore. She understood. Right. You know, you also have to understand, you know, I've been sober for 7 years. And that was probably the hardest thing that I had to do in my life. Lori wasn't around me when I was, you know, in my doldrums. You know, she met me, 2.5 years later? I believe it was. So she met me 2.5 years later. And I do everything alcoholic, no matter what it is. You know, like everything is either 100% on or it's not moving at all. And she supports me in this. This is a healthy habit for me. It's whack-a-mole. I'm basically just taking one thing and trading it for something else. And I love to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm passionate about it. I love going to the racetrack. I'm in Michigan here helping AJ. You know, I'm at the racetrack and I just love being here, being around and talking to people. And I love networking and meeting new faces. And I love this stuff. Like, I just wish that shit was together a long time ago. I could have been doing this even longer, but
right,
it happens for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. It does. And I mean, it's not like Lori hasn't been behind the wheel of something.
Well, so that was the next step. So in my little
but it's
mind,
really like
in my little mind thinking, I'm like, what would be better? Because I was showing her, you know, or all the other people in Modern Street Hemi, and way to go, Gary. And I'm showing her, I'm like, listen, there's a lot of husband and wives that are doing this. Tina, you do it, right? You and Scott. I'm like, we could do this together. And I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I could build another 8-second and it'd be hers, and I can get to drive it. I have to buy a stacker trailer. Now I got to buy a motor home. Like, I'm thinking of all these big moves that I have to make. It's okay if she thinks and she can't say no to this stuff. So I decide my great thing for her birthday is to get her to send her Frank Hawley drag racing school. So that was my great idea for her birthday present, and not knowing. And this is nothing against those guys down there. I'm sure they're great guys, but it's not a drag. It's not a school. It's school. It's a place to get your competition license. It's not really made for somebody that has zero race experience. Right. And her experience was very. I don't think I told her when she was down there. I don't think I would have been able to do it my first time. There's no help. I mean, it's classroom. They throw you in the car and they're like, good luck. There's nobody around you. You're in the trail by yourself. You got this 2-step button. You don't know what it does. There's no mirrors. There's nothing. I mean, she couldn't fit in the car. She's so small. They had like phone books in there for her to see over the dash.
I did. I had a booster seat.
And I was so proud of her, but
over the hood scoop.
Yeah, you have to be able to see.
Yeah,
they put me in the left lane, and I couldn't see over the hood scoop, so I was having a hard time seeing the tree. And there's not one mirror on the car. There's no one to help you stage. And I'm like, my husband has 5 people up there with him, helping him stage. What am I supposed? How am I going to?
You're like, where's my pit crew?
Yeah, I got Gary, Rudy.
Gary, where are you?
I have AJ. I have Matt. I have all these people helping me. Right. She's up there like a baby that just came out of the womb. Good luck.
No, it's true. Well, no, it's true.
I was able to get through the burnout okay. I was able to back up at the line and get myself in the right position by myself, which I was happy about. And then once I let go of that trans brake button, I don't even know. I just said, oh, I don't want to die today. Oh, God, I really don't want to die today. Please don't let me die.
Right.
It's not time yet.
I'm not ready.
And it was just, I don't know. I got back and I was like, this is not for me. I don't know what you were thinking. There's nothing that could have prepared me for this. And I would sit in our kitchen and I had a fake steering wheel, a salt and pepper shaker. I had a pedal on the floor, and I would practice all the steps with the line lock.
I drew pictures.
I knew where everything was in the car.
Yeah, I bought her all the video game controller with the steering wheel and the foot pedals. And she practiced. I mean, the book she took seriously. She watched all the videos. I was imitating engine, rumbles. And this was months before it.
In my kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
But nothing could have prepared me for letting go of that button.
Way.
It felt like I was being shot out of a cannon straight to the freaking moon.
Yeah, I believe it.
So I did it 3 times, and then I was like, fuck this. I was like, James, I'm sorry. You're not getting your double stacker trailer. I'm sorry. It didn't work out for you.
But you know what?
He was standing back there watching you saying, damn it, I'm not getting my trailer.
I know he was. Because there was a motive.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my God.
No motor home. Shit.
It was terrible.
But you made 3 passes for somebody that was going in with, no experience as far as being in the car. Even the sound would have been mind-blowing for you.
It was I was just so nervous that I just
yeah, but you got in it and you did it 3 times.
But I did then have to go to James and say wow, I didn't realize what you were experiencing. So it put me in a better position to understand what he goes through, and like
For
the
sure.
nervousness and the, like the little bit of anxiety he feels like the
adrenaline.
morning of any race. It definitely put me in a better position to understand him and to like be able to be what he needs before he makes any passes,
Yeah, she
Absolutely.
said, "You like that feeling when you let go of the button?" She's like, "What is wrong with you?" Like, I was like, "That's what I love."
I was like, "You're nuts."
Yeah, she's like, I found a whole new respect for you and all the people that do this thing. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it really gave you that whole picture now of everything and the experience of it.
But it's not for me. I'm going to leave it to you guys.
Yeah.
All you guys. Everyone
But
that's
you'll be there.
watching.
And what's great is you support it. You have the friendships. You'll be there, which is awesome.
yeah, she does everything. She does the filming. She helps me with my social media. I mean, we're always trying to, we always, if you come by our trailer, we either have the barbecue out. We're always trying to cook something, or, so we have Dunkin' Donuts coffee, French vanilla. If you're ever around the trailer, we always have coffee,
man,
K-cups.
I hope I get to come around this trailer sometime.
Yes, you gotta come. It's a good time.
So speaking of that, can you tell everyone when the car will be ready?
So the car should be ready. We should start testing the end of next month. Yay. So the end of August, we're going to start testing.
Nice. Okay.
As long as everything goes well, that's our plan. So we won't be like, unfortunately, the Modern Street Hamilton in Michigan. But we're going to make Yellow Bullet and Mo Party and every event after that.
Okay. So this is actually your second build. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So once again, I mean, I really want to go fast, but when we went through the first build, I'm going 950s, a car with seatbelts. That was not okay. And I really wasn't okay with, I'm trapping 155 miles an hour, and it was fast. It was fast to do it with a seatbelt on. So I've always been big with safety. So when we did my first cage got certified for 850. Well, when I was in import versus domestic, I went 790 at 175 miles an hour. And I was at certification again. I mean, we were going to do this work anyway. But it's really about safety. I mean, the funny car cage we're putting in there is good for 6 seconds. It's good for 230 miles an hour. We're going to have 2 parachutes on it. I have every sensor and computer and traction control management and yin and yang. And, there's more computers on this car than you can imagine. It's all built for safety.
Here's some of the bare bones right there of but in the works. Now, this is obviously prior. There's been more done since this picture, but it just gives people an idea.
We want to make it. Well, okay. So I saw that one. So Jerome wants to know. We think the car is going to go 650 at 225. So if we do that, we beat the all-time record of Rob Goss's 74. So I believe Grumpy Cat has 699 and Leon is like 690. But I think Rob Goss's car is a Challenger. It's not a Hellcat, I think.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I'm not sure either, but obviously Rob Goss doesn't really run quarter mile anymore. I mean, if he took 8th mile and did it, it'd be much faster than his posted 674. He did it a long time ago. But whatever the case may be, we think we can go even faster than that. We're going to be about 3,400 pounds, which is really the problem with the car, is getting it light enough. But it's all about how well the car works. And that's why we're doing so much.
34 pounds of.
Well, from 2,300 pounds, we think the car's 3,400 pounds.
Okay.
Now, the car is still going to have a completely stock front half. It still has its steel quarters and fenders, and it's still working good. I still have power windows in the car. I do have a Lexan windshield in back, but we still have
any air conditioning?
Windows. No air conditioning. We had to. Well, I do cheat with a cold suit. So I do cheat with that, which I get made fun of all the time. Lori will make fun of me for my cold suit.
It's hot.
It gets hot, these things.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's tell Tara about
Yeah.
when you were trying to get into the sevens. I think he ran an 801, and he has this chiller suit that he wears. It's a vest, and there's a cooler sitting in the car. And he came back from his 801, and I had just had it. I said, "You don't want sevens." I said, I was like pretty much screaming at him in front of everyone. I was like, "How bad do you want it?" I was like, "Take that suit off. Get that cooler out of the car. Stop being a what?
Take the race suit off.
You
Go
don't
race
want sevens.
flip-flops
Go
in your
get it."
underwear.
She's
So he
like,
did. He took it out of the car, and the next pass was his 799.
awesome.
Yep.
Bingo.
Again,
Bingo.
listen to your woman.
That's right.
Woman, that's the moral of the story this entire time. Happy wife,
Exactly.
happy life.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So we're super
Awesome.
excited about it. I think that the build is going to put the car on a different kind of platform that we're going to be able to race with the Mustangs and the Camaros, because we'll start having parity with them. So I'm going to race a lot of different events: import versus domestic, street car takeover, street Hemi. We're going to do some other events also. So I'm really excited. We built it for a lot of different things. So the car is not a one-trick pony. We can fit 3 different size tires on the back of it to fit for various rules. We can put 275, a 315, and then we can put a gigantic 16 by 16 big tire. We're going to go NHRA racing, build this for the experimental class. But the experimental class rules are not defined right now, and they don't really know what they're going to do with it. And it sounds like it's going to, I think years ago they built NHRA trucks, and all these guys went out and spent all this money for all these cars, and then everybody ended up suing NHRA because they banned they gave the series after 2 years, and these guys all invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in these cars. So until the NHRA figures out what they're going to do, then maybe we can play in that arena. But if we did, I would have to take the twin turbos out and put a drag pack in.
Okay.
So, but we
any idea on how much boost you might have?
Well, that's the funny thing. I keep telling AJ that I want to run at least 90 pounds of boost at 18,000 RPMs, and he's telling me that's not possible. So, maybe you have to find another heavy tuner.
That's not rude.
I thought he was a good tuner.
I
Come on, AJ.
I for 90, he keeps giving me 40 or 30, whatever he keeps giving me.
Right.
The most I think ran in the car is 27. And that's only because of the rear suspension that we had at the time. We had an independent rear suspension. And that's really, it kind of limited us to how fast the car's going. I mean, we think that the car would have ran 770s at import versus domestic, but that's pretty much the limit of that rear end. So the only thing that we had going against us was the rear end. We really needed to get a solid rear end in the car and a 4-link to make the car work the way it's supposed to.
Right.
There's a reason why that rear end in every drag race car since the 1960s. It's what everybody uses. It works. So
yeah, right.
So that nature of that will help us go faster by also being lighter. And I think it's gonna. The guy who's building it, Mark, is he's like AJ with building cars. So AJ is the mad scientist with tuning the cars, and Mark is the mad scientist with building these chassis cars. He's been doing it for 30 years. There's nothing he hasn't seen. He's pretty amazing. I talk to him, Lori, my boyfriend, I talk to him 3 times a day, and all we talk about is chassis. And he teaches me more about chassis, how they work, why they work, and give me all the information, because I really want to know. I don't have that kind of knowledge.
Right.
I really want to know how the car works, why it works.
Right.
What works, what doesn't work.
Exactly.
Because that will make me better. So
it's like being a sponge, there's so much to it that you want to learn everything as you go along. Yeah, and there's so much science to it as well. And
people think it's easy. I mean, you watch TV and wow, look
at it's not easy.
I mean, God, these guys just got to cut lights. This is not easy.
No, it's not easy.
This is not easy.
And so you've got a couple of sponsors as well.
Yeah, so
wanted you to mention these guys as well, because I mean, let's face it, they help also make the magic happen.
Yeah, so Niall Maxwell, he's a Dodge dealer in Texas, and he came on board this year as a sponsor. Next Gen also came on board as a sponsor. RC Components, my new rib I had in my car, came on, and that's why we build our social media the way we're trying is to get out there and to show people what the car is. I mean, we went to Import versus Domestic, and it was one of the events that Dan Van Horn was able to get Modern Street to go in there, and there have been no Emmys in this series, and this is like the World Series racing, but it's all imports and all versus Mustangs and Camaros. And there were 50,000 people there for 4 days straight.
I have one of these clips.
I've never seen so many people in my life.
Is this when you went up against the Honda?
Yes.
So import versus domestic. Yeah. This is great. And this Honda, I have to say, it's like I'm not a Honda fan, but when you watch this Honda, it's I don't know.
And
you'll see.
It wasn't only that. I've never seen so many cars that were 190 miles an hour plus.
Yeah.
GTR went 237 miles an hour. A Pro Mod went 5 seconds at 275. I mean, I've never seen. There was 300 cars there, and every one of them was fast. I mean, unbelievable how fast all these cars were, and especially out of a little Honda. They're running 90 pounds of boost out of a little four-cylinder with a gigantic turbo sitting on it.
Oh, I know. The flames coming out the hood.
It was an experience. It was amazing. It really was.
Awesome. Here, I'll show everybody the clip. Did you hear the crowd?
Right.
That was insane.
And apparently it was the closest race that they had the entire weekend, and we both set records. So he was the first import to run underneath 8 seconds, and I was the first domestic.
Awesome.
Incredible.
And it was the best loss I ever had, because it was David versus Goliath. I was supposed to win that race, and he motored by me, and at
the top end there. Just.
His name is Marsh. He was a really good guy. They're called the Island Boys. They were really nice, and I congratulate him at the end. And it was an amazing experience. And I'll tell you, it was like I landed a spaceship in the middle of that racetrack. Everybody came by. They're like, "What is this car that you have here?" I mean, you only had me there. They were like, and then once people found out how fast it was. I was hoarse after 4 days. I couldn't even talk anymore. I mean.
All I did was heavy. They're so big, they're so heavy.
Yeah.
That there's so many people that probably have no idea what they're capable of doing.
None.
I have a clip here. You go up against a Mustang, and it looks like he has a bit of trouble.
I love Gary at the end.
Gary's Gary?
Gary at the end?
It was Gary.
Way to go, Gary. That was hilarious. Wasn't the clip I thought, but that is the one where the guy did the wheelie down the other lane,
that whole race was like, so that was in Modern Street Hemi. That was called oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought. They were another event that raced with us, and I can't remember their name right now. I'm sorry. What? King of Streets. So it was King of Streets.
Nice, Lori.
You know, they were like, sure, what's this car going to come in there? It's really pretty. You know, everybody came over and they're like, you want to see my car with 9 kits of nitrous and I have 19 turbos and, you know, whatever. You know, these guys were all talking all this smack. And then before you know it, after I put 2 guys on the trailer, they come over and they're like, well, what's in this thing? And where's your nitrous bottles? And how many power headers you have? And what size tires you are? And I'm like, well, I don't have, well, if you want to count my 2 turbos, that's still single power. Like, we don't run nitrous. You can look at the size of my tires.
Yeah.
Then they were asking if they could borrow friends' cars to race me for the next round. I mean, I shit you not. I mean, this was like a complete, like, put together. And then when I went into the final round, after I put everybody else on the trailer, the guy comes to me. He's like, let's split the pot. I'm like,
amazing.
I'm like, hey, dude, like, I came here to race. Like, I'm not here to split anything. Like, if you think you're going to lose, whatever. I don't care if I lose, but
right.
I'm here to race, and I'm sure the fans want to see a race and not a race. And he must have put like 9 more kits of nitrous in his car because, I mean, thank God I was gone because he would have been on my roof if I wasn't.
Exactly. Very lucky.
So he definitely sent the car. I'll tell you. He
when you say send it,
he certainly sent it. But they were all, at the end of the day, they were all good guys, and you know, we all had a good time, and it was just funny. They didn't think you know, a pretty car could go fast. So
yeah, and a big car.
Yes, and a big car. Yeah.
So, what's the end goal? So I guess to get in beyond where you are now, you want to get into the 6s. You want to.
Well, you know, we want to have the fastest car in the world. I don't care. I mean, have the fastest Challenger. Don't, you know, because everybody has the fastest Redeye / super stop / my left window is open, but that the only pass I had my moonroof open and I had 3 wheels. It'd be nice just to have. It would be nice just to have just Challenger. But listen, I mean, we just want to have a lot of fun and go out and race.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
You know, we don't do this for the money. You know, I do this to go out and meet people, and yeah, certainly. I mean, you know, I do this.
We get that.
Yeah, you know, we do this to go out and meet people and have a good time. It's a passion for me. You know, I have something big brewing that's coming up, and I can't really say anything about it right now, but. There's some exciting news going to be coming out of our camp real soon, and they will show a kind of direction of where we're going. But for now, we're just going to focus on what we're doing and just start racing this year. I mean, it's killing me. It's killing me.
So this is a good question. Anybody have any websites to help her out?
What websites are good to read?
Yeah, I mean 1320. I mean, those guys are unbelievable. That's a you know, that's a great website. I mean, they have every car imaginable on there. Let's see, Racing Vids is another one.
True.
You know, these are all on YouTube. If you just put in drag racing channel on YouTube, I mean, you'll come up with everything. Everything will come up. I mean, ask Lori. All I do is watch drag racing. You know,
I've watched
that's all I do.
A lot as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You got the sound effects right down.
Hey, at least he's not sending you the chicken videos, which Scott is listening, and you would understand.
I get a lot of puppy videos.
TikTok. Oh my gosh.
Oh, TikTok.
Yeah. TikTok. I mean, like, you know, I'm up here in Michigan, and I'm with AJ and Hemi Tuner, and he has his drag pack out here, and there's a couple of other guys from DSR here, and you know, not that I can really do a lot to help these guys. I mean, I can't get underneath the car, but just to be around them, and
absolutely.
Anything, you know, I'm good at bringing the coffee and the Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, that's what they count on me for all of that. So I'm going to do my little part and have fun and hang out. And hopefully that AJ can win this event. That would be awesome. And if I can help him do it in any sort of capacity, I would love to.
Yes,
you know? I mean,
absolutely.
At the end of the day, he's a friend on top of everything else. So,
Lori,
Mark
Lori,
is
it
also
sounds
here.
to me like he's trying to be you at
Yeah.
this
No,
race.
no, he's better
He
than
can't
I.
look as good doing it. Trust me.
Oh,
James, is there any advice you'd give to anybody wanting to get into this? If you could give one good piece.
you know, I am living a dream. You know, if you told me 7 years ago when I was at the bottom of the barrel that I could be where I am today, I would have told you all crazy. You know, and that's why I think I try to treat it like every day is my last day, and I'm grateful to have an opportunity to wake up and to even remotely do this. I could have never imagined that I would have been able to do this. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful family. I mean, you know, if you think that you can't do it, you should just try.
James, do you see that?
Yes,
Oh.
that's my baby.
Is that your daughter?
That's
Yes.
my daughter. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi,
Hi,
honey. I love
Ashley.
you. I mean,
There.
she could tell you she was there when I was on the bottom,
Yeah.
and I just feel very grateful that I'm here. I mean, I have this is amazing that I'm able to do this, and one drink, this would all be gone, and that's the reality of this horrible disease that I have, and a lot of other people have it.
Absolutely.
But there is hope if you go out and get help and you ask for help and you're determined. It's not about beating it. It's about one day at a time, and I'm having the time of my life and live your dream. I mean, this is a dream for me. So
absolutely,
I want to take this as far as I can go. Like, for the first time in my life, I'm doing something that I love. I've worked in the car business and done all the jobs that I didn't really enjoy, but I did it because I had to.
Right.
And this is something that I do because I love it. So they say
That's
if you love
excellent.
doing something, you're not working. So
yeah, and it's better to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
But next time you won't buy a brand new car and cut it up, right?
Certainly not. So,
A brand new
so
car
let me tell you the
fully
way to
loaded.
do it. You go to a junkyard, you buy a 5,000 hoopty, doesn't matter what VIN number it has, and you build a race car. Stop fooling yourself and thinking that you only want to do a pulley and you only want to do a exhaust, because after $40,000 and you've done all of that stuff, like, what's next?
I know.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
Everybody's like, I just
Never
want a
ending.
1,000 horsepower street car. Why?
Because we can. Because we can.
On the street.
Yes, exactly. Because we can. Yes,
Because
exactly.
we can. But did you notice that Lori said next time? Lori, you said next time.
Next time.
The big funny bet is like, I was like, honey, I could always just buy another one, and then we could go to car shows with that one. She's like, well, how low? Well, you can't help yourself. Like, you'll do something to it, and she's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, my dually has work done to it.
That was really more
crazy.
Advice for anybody watching that wants to get into it. Don't go buy a brand new, fully loaded car, because you're going to chop it up.
Yeah.
You're going to do stuff to it.
Yes, exactly.
James
because
was
it's
saying
it's
my
fun.
truck. I bought all of the stuff to work on my truck before I even got the truck. So
I know, and your truck is fast as hell. That
it's
thing
gorgeous.
is unbelievable.
Well, I'm talking about my actual truck that I had to buy to pull the Durango with the enclosed car trailer. Because you can't just have a race car.
No.
You got to do the whole package. It's true.
That's
Lord.
right.
You really do.
Listen,
you
the
really
worst
do.
part about when I got into this, I rented a truck. I rented a trailer. I thought the trailer was going to fall off the truck. Then I get to these tracks. I mean, I'm a guy. Even I didn't want to go to the bathroom in these places. I mean, you're in porta potties. When I ordered my trailer, the guy's like, well, what do you want in this thing? I'm like, a bathroom. I don't want a shower.
Yeah.
I just need a bathroom, please, with air conditioning. So,
exactly.
It gets expensive fast. It really does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even fuel. I mean, all that adds up, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, now at $5 a gallon, $6 a gallon, it's a big deal to drive halfway. I mean, if I was to go to this event and I had to leave from Florida, I think I looked at it was going to be like 28 hours to get there.
Wow.
In 28 hours, it would probably cost me, I mean, that's like 1,200 miles. My truck gets 7 miles to the gallon.
Right.
I mean, it's $1,500 just in gas.
Yeah.
Then you got to get home. So
But you know, James, you could go electric.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. She hit it right on the head.
Them's are fighting words.
That's fighting words. Well, my thing on the electric cars is that if they charge by the sun in 2 hours, they would be a practical thing to use.
Right.
But if you're going to use 80% of fossil fuels to charge your car, that's not a solution. It just adds to the problem. So, you know, it's a good idea. But just like the lady who I think they towed their Mustang cross country. It took them 3 weeks to go cross country. Every 80 miles, they had to stop and charge. And then they found out that all these charging stations don't charge the same. Right. You know, they don't give you all those kilowatts. So it's going to be a long time before they make this possible.
Absolutely.
You know, but, you know, if you're a commuter and you commute 100 miles every day and you can afford to buy a Tesla or a $75,000 car, sure, it's great.
Until you need a new battery.
Until you need a new battery, right. Right. It has its other problems. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a whole other show, maybe.
Yeah, and we definitely don't want to see electric Hellcats. Because I don't want to see one.
No, I'm really nervous about them myself. But, yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be a very long time before they can do that. Before they can, you know,
well, they're saying 24. They're saying 23 is your last year, but maybe an election might happen that might change it. Maybe.
Not
but I don't know.
Not before that.
Well, yeah, the election, it will be right there. It'll be 24. So maybe that might stop it, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
That's the thing. We don't know. So, where can people follow you?
Well, I have Redeye.racing. I have my Redeye channel on YouTube. I also have Redeye Racing on TikTok.
Right.
And that's it. Those are the 3 places. And, you know, one of the things I tell everybody all the time is it's only me answering. Lori will tell you that I'm on the goddamn thing all the time. And I don't care who you are. You DM me. I personally answer everyone.
Yeah.
You know, if a person has a question on how they want to work on their car, I mean, I don't have a shop or anything like that. If I can help you, I try to help everyone that, you know, that texts me.
That's what it's about.
You know, people have always, you know, taken time to help me, and I want to pay it forward to help them. And so, you know, that's the least I can do for people. And if there's people that I can know that can help them in their area, I certainly, you know, tell them who to use, who not to use, in my opinion. And hopefully
this is it. You need to really trust, you know, the tuners and the manufacturers and the people that are helping you do this work, right? It's a big deal. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I want to thank my sponsors again. You know, Nile Maxwell Supercenter in Texas, Next Gen, RC Components. You know, without things like that,
South Bay Fuel Injectors. South Bay.
Oh yes, South Bay Fuel Injectors. Also, sorry about that. I forgot that. Thank you, honey. You know, they're a Long Island firm that came through with injectors, and short little story with them in 2019. They sent me a set of injectors when I first got started in this.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I mean, they're great. Awesome. They make a great product.
It's amazing.
And you know, we need sponsors, especially in this sport. We need more people to get involved because we have a lot of racetracks that are closing down for various reasons. What?
I'm looking if anybody's looking to sponsor someone.
All are. We all are. Everybody, all my hands are up. You know, but you know, but to definitely help the local tracks. I mean, we certainly need that. We need more help.
Sure. Absolutely, and we got to keep them going.
And these TV shows are helping. You know, this Street Outlaws and all that stuff that is showing people that it's cool to do this stuff. That all helps. And we can't have kids do it on the street because that's just crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we don't want that. No. Well, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us. It was our pleasure.
So honored to know you, and you guys are just fantastic. You make an amazing team, and I hope to meet you personally as soon as I can.
Okay.
Definitely someday. Yeah, just a pleasure to know you guys. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you too very soon.
Yeah,
we'll see you soon, Tina. Definitely.
Yes, you will.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great
Have
night.
a great night. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, that's the end of the show, everybody. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to dive back into the women in drag racing. But tonight was an awesome show. Thank you to Lori and James for coming on. Love those guys. And we'll see everybody soon.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.